Everybody, Alex Corey here with cultivatedchange.com. We haven't done a garden update in a while, and that's just because it is the middle of summer and things are kind of unruly to manage, so I tend to just let them do whatever they're going to. I've also been building a bunch of health coaching programs, so my energy has been directed elsewhere. But we're going to go around and see what's worked late spring planting, what things to spend time on, and what to think about for fall. I start out by the road because I'm trying to do this before the sun comes out and before traffic gets too bad. I'm right next to a road, so we'll try to keep the noise to a minimal. These are tomatoes behind me. I thought I planted all indeterminate and at least one sun gold in there. I haven't seen a sun gold yet. So we have some Gardener's Delight. We have, I don't know what this beefsteak is because I didn't plant a big tomato. But we'll find out what that is. So, name of the game is to label everything. I always think that I will know what something is by what it looks like with a Gardener's Delight or a Chadwick cherry. Now, some you can tell, so if it's like a chocolate cherry or Chadwick cherry and they have a deep red hue, maybe, but Gardener's Delight is a multi-varied tomato. And it is quite gorgeous if you can see the red in there. Let's see if I can get in the squash. These guys right here, that's a Gardener's Delight. They're quite beautiful. I've been eating them for a couple weeks right now. But I need to string up probably to the top of that roof because they are going crazy still. So mid-season fertilization, a lot of people like fish emulsion, like a 533. That's perfect for tomatoes, any of the nightshades, any of the heavy fruiting stuff. But if you plant determinate and they are doing well, they can be up to 10 feet tall. So I need to string up probably to the top of those wooden posts still. That's a little crazy. The squash are slowly dying. And that's fine. It's been a month and a half. The squash lady beetles have been getting them, and those look like ladybugs. So they're a orange and black spotted beetle that looks like a ladybug. They just eat cucurbit plants. So if you see them, squash them. There's nothing that will really kill them that you don't have to constantly reapply and that you necessarily want to be eating. So when you see them, here's one. Oh, if you can see that right there. Yeah, kill those. But if you can't, I overplant squash, so just let them go. You'll get at least a month or a month and a half of production out of them, and they will outgrow most wilts, fungus, everything. I've been eating zucchini off these for a long time, and they're still pumping, and that's why I plant second generations and third generations. So there's a point at which it does not become worth your time to pick things off of them. So when it gets to be spent production, just let them go. Butternut squash here are going crazy. I don't know what to do about that. I forgot that they did that. I don't think I've ever had them grow that much, but they are literally creeping into the lawns. That's a problem. The lettuces, I planted lettuce in June just to see what would happen, and these guys are doing pretty well. This bed right here. It's a little weedy because I haven't been tending to it, but these are fine. Like, I'll harvest those. That's fine. Tomatoes are going crazy behind me, and I put a little underbrush of lettuce, so that's doing okay. through our tunnel. The morning glory up here is taking over the trellis, which is what it's supposed to do. And the cucumbers all got a wilt in about 3 days. It's been raining non-stop here in Western North Carolina for about 3 weeks. Every day at 3 o'clock, it just pours. There's nothing you can do about that. There's nothing you can put in your soil. I did amend soil with rice hulls and with a little bit of sand just to increase drainage, but there's not a lot you can do that will both increase moisture retention for spring when it doesn't rain all the time and help drainage when it's pouring, other than compost. Compost is usually a good buffer and it'll regulate itself, but if it's pouring every day at 3 o'clock and the soil's never getting a chance to dry out, not much you can do. But so all the cucumbers are getting this nice disease here, but we're still getting some pretty nice cucumbers. If you can see this guy right here, we've been pickling for 3 weeks, so it might just be time. These guys were the first generation of cucumbers right here, and they're all toast. They did spit out a couple more cucumbers in their stress response, but they're gonna get ripped out today, and we will probably plant some peas, some fall peas, up against this trellis. The San Marzanos behind me, right there, those massive clumps, we'll pick those, but these are all a wilt. So they just, we're too close together because I forgot how big they got. And as soon as they reached maturity, it just started pouring every day. So they're pumping out as many as they can in a stress response. I haven't even bothered to trim the leaves because I'm just letting them do what they're going to. It's kind of pointless at this point, but we will definitely get some fruit from them. And I grew everything from seeds, so it's not like we wasted a ton of money on transplants. The pepper bed is kind of hilarious because it's a jungle. Like, this is the new jungle. My old house I referred to as a jungle. This is a jungle. I can't walk in here. I just harvested 10 peppers from this one bed. Also, this thing is hilarious. This bean trellis, that was one plant. I didn't plant that. It was volunteer. And we just stuck a little random wooden teepee in the middle of the bed when it was, this big. And it's going crazy. So that's great. And the sunflowers are probably the most interesting part of the garden. These are microgreen seeds. We did plant a couple. So these are autumn beauties right here. These gorgeous red hued, but all the other ones are volunteers. So that's fun. Carrots are doing well, and I will be picking those. This is probably my favorite bed at this point because it's pure experiment. I've never done a true, I saw this technique with the pole up here. Josh Satin Hill Farms, he has a great YouTube channel. Just T-posts on one end with, this is supposed to be PVC, but I had a wooden dowel, really big wooden dowel, so it's bowing pretty hard, so I might have to support the center. But these guys are growing well. They're lush, healthy. I'll give them a little fertilizer soon, but I planted an understory of lettuce. Get a better angle down here, and that's growing well. It's starting to bolt because it's 90 degrees, but the tomatoes are giving it some shade, so we're gonna harvest that. And our melons are fighting a rot. So if you can see, the one in the middle there succumbed to all the rain, but the rest are still pumping out. Back there we have second generation of squash that's doing well, and I'm going to give it a little water. Okra in the back that the neighbors planted, which is doing okay. And then the other random thing that happened was this guy. If you can see these. These are ground cherries. And we, meaning my roommate and I, both forgot how big they get. They took over probably an entire 4x8, and that's 2 plants. They took a month and a half to get started, and then they just went bananas. So they took over an entire 4x8, and we don't like ground cherries all that much. I mean, they're cool to snack on, but I don't know what you do with that many. So I'm just gonna harvest them all and just give them to someone just to get them out of there, because it's taking up a lot of space. We got beets in the back behind those, if you can see the little frayed leaves there. And the other thing that was of concern, same thing with the butternut. This nightmare. That's 3 butternut plants. We just put them there to get them out of the other space. I have no idea what to do with that. It's taking over the lawn, which is not a bad thing, but it's taking over the lawn, and I have to like direct the vines away from everything, so plan that better next year. But here's a different angle of the pepper beds. So we have peppers and parsley apparently everywhere. I forgot all the herbs that we planted because they get overcrowded by all the actual plants. But that is an update on everything. So been eating a good amount of produce for about probably a month and a half, 2 months at this point, and it is time to start your fall garden. So fair warning, I'm late on this because I've just been busy and it slipped my mind. But if you're going to do a fall garden, probably should have seeded 2 weeks ago. You can either wait and direct transplant beets, carrots, all of the spring stuff in middle of August. If you're transplanting cruciferous vegetables, so broccolis, cauliflowers, kales, chard, all of that, all of the cold hardy stuff, that can go in 3 weeks to a month to grab the still long enough days, and then they'll slow down around October whenever the daylight disappears. But we'll do an update whenever we do seed a lot of our fall garden stuff.